In this video, we will see the solution to the practice exercise Hosted Railings. For this exercise, we need to create a ramp next to the external stairs using the floor tool, and then modifying the floor with the shape editing tools to create the slope of a ramp. We'll need to create a new floor type with a variable thickness layer to create the solid underside of the ramp, and also create railings either side, which are then hosted by the ramp. Finally, we'll create a railing for the external stairs that's hosted by the side wall, and we'll modify its type properties to adjust the spacing of the posts. Let's start by opening the file Hosted Railings. And we can see the area where we need to add the ramp first, and then also the railings by the side of the stairs. We'll come and create the ramp first, and to do this we'll go to the Site Floor Plan view. And now from the Architecture ribbon tab on the Build panel, we'll choose the Floor tool to sketch the ramp in. We'll change the floor type from the generic 12-inch to the site paving to begin with. And we'll also change the level constraint from site down to basement 1. Now instead of using the Pick Walls tool, we'll use the Pick Lines tool. And now we'll come and choose the edge of the curved wall to be the edge of our ramp. We'll come back and use a Draw Straight Line, and from the midpoint of the curve we'll draw out by 10'9", and then we'll come back horizontal to meet the existing slab. So we'll finish drawing our lines by choosing Modify, and we'll come and trim up the corner of the curved wall here. So we'll use Trim Extend to Corner to create the corner of the junction here at the bottom of the curve. And now we'll come and use the Offset tool, and we'll change the offset to 4 feet to offset to the opposite side of the ramp. We'll use the Trim Extend Single Element tool to extend this line up to the existing paving, and we'll use the Trim Extend Multiple Element to choose the top of the slab here and to trim off the excess from the curved wall. We'll draw a straight line to connect up the end of the ramps at the top here, and we'll use Pick Lines once more to get the curve of the existing slab, and then Trim Extend Corner to create the end of the ramp down here. We'll use this a little bit more just to tidy up the final part of the ramp. And now that we have an enclosed sketch, we can choose Finish Edit mode to go and create that floor. So it's currently giving us a warning that our floors are overlapping. Looking back in the exterior perspective view, we can see why, and that's because our floor is down at the same level as the grass here. But that's okay, because we're going to make a ramp and we can sort out the overlapping as we need to later on. So to create the ramp, we need to add in some split lines so that we can create the slopes and keep the landings as we need them. So once again, we'll do this from the Site Floor Plan view. And to begin with, we'll select the floor, and then from the Modify ribbon menu, we'll choose Add Split Line. So we can see the corners of the existing sketches, and we'll start by snapping to the end of the existing line here and coming across vertical to the opposite side. We'll do this at this landing at the top on both sides so that we have in the horizontal landing here. And now we need to create a landing in the middle of the curved slope here, and we'll use some detail lines to help us position it. So from the Annotate ribbon tab, we'll come and choose Detail Line from the Detail panel, and we'll draw our straight detail line by using the SC keyboard shortcut to snap to the center of the ramp. And then we'll come down at 45 degrees or 135 as it's indicated on the screen, and just intersect the ramp. We'll choose Escape, and now we can offset this line by 3 feet either side to create the boundary of our landing. So from the Modify ribbon tab, we'll come and choose the Offset tool, and we'll set the offset distance to 3 feet, and then offset our detail line either side by 3 feet. So now we can use the intersection of the ramp and these detail lines to add our split points in. So we'll choose Modify to finish the Offset tool. We'll reselect our floor and choose Add Split Line from the Modify Floors ribbon tab. We snap to the intersection of the detail line and the floor, and then we'll use the SP shortcut to snap perpendicular to the other side of the ramp. And we'll do this once more, so we'll get the intersection of the detail line and the ramp, and then use the SP shortcut to go perpendicular to the opposite side of the ramp. So now we have all of our split lines created, we'll choose modify to finish, and we can now come and delete our detail lines. So now we have all of our split lines. We need to assign the elevation in to create the ramp itself. And looking at the exterior perspective view, we can see they're currently all down at the basement 1 level. And we have the site level, which is where we need to rise up to, which is 8 feet above the basement 1 level. So we'll start by choosing the floor, and then from the Modify Floors ribbon menu, we'll choose Modify Sub-Elements. And we'll start by selecting the points at the top of the ramp here, and then we can set their elevation to 8 feet. We can then get the landing in the middle, and we'll set their elevation to be 5'6". And then finally the landing at the bottom here, and we'll set their elevation to be 3 feet. So we'll choose modify to finish changing the points there, and we can now see the ramp sloping up from the existing paving and then following around the curve. We have the landings here until it meets the slab at the site level at the top. However, we can see that it's kind of floating and we need the solid underside to create the ramp. So we need to create a new floor type in order to have a variable thickness layer to fill in the underside. So we'll select our floor. From the properties we'll choose edit type. Then we'll duplicate this to be site paving ramp. And then select OK. From the construction panel we'll choose to edit the structure. And now we'll insert a new layer. And this is again at layer 4, which is where we need it, beneath the actual paving itself. We'll set the thickness to be 4 inches. And then we'll choose for this to be a variable thickness layer. We'll assign a material, so we'll choose by category, and then we'll launch the material browser from the ellipses. And then we'll come and search for the concrete cast in place material, which we can then choose and then select OK to assign that into our layer. And then we'll choose OK and OK once more to now assign that new type onto our ramp. So once again we get the highlighted floors warning, but we'll choose OK to continue. And now we can see that we have our ramp with its solid underlayer taken up by that variable thickness layer that we've just created. So now we need to create the railings along the side of the ramp, and to do that we'll go back to the site view once more. From the architecture ribbon tab on the circulation panel we'll choose the railing tool. We'll change the railing type to be the glass panel bottom fill. And then from the draw tools we'll come and choose pick lines, and then we can pick the edge of our floor to create the path for the railing. This is currently at the site level, so from the tools panel we'll choose pick new host and then select our floor to host those railings. Then we'll choose finish edit mode and come and review in our exterior perspective view that we've got our railings created and they're following the line of the ramp itself. So we'll repeat this for the other side of the ramp, and this only needs to come back to meet the wall here. So once again in the site floor plan view, from the architecture ribbon tab we'll choose the railing tool. Then we'll choose pick lines and select the other 2 edges of our ramp here. Once again we'll choose pick new host and choose the floor. And now we can choose finish edit mode, and then we can create those railings, and we can see them following the line of the ramp up to meet the wall. So now we just need to create the railings that will follow along the side of the stairs and are hosted on this wall here. So once again to do this we'll go back to the site floor plan view. And panning across we can see the line where we need to create our railings. So from the architecture ribbon tab on the circulation panel again we'll choose the railing tool. We'll change the railing type to be the guardrail pipe type here. And now we'll come and snap to the middle of the end of the wall here, and we can draw across to the opposite end, and then from this point we'll come along by 22'9". So we need to split the railing path to allow for the posts where the slope of the wall occurs. So to do this we'll use the split element tool from the modify ribbon tab, and we'll split this just in front of the actual slope itself, and again at the bottom here, so that the post is into the flat bit of the wall and it's into the slope and not right on the join itself. And then we'll choose finish edit mode and we'll create those railings, and in the exterior perspective view we can see that they're currently on the site level. So from the modify ribbon tab, whilst they're still selected, we'll choose pick new host and then we can select our wall. And now we can see it following the line of the wall. So zooming in a little, we can see we have a slightly off-center pattern. And it'd be nice to get that spaced out a little bit better. So we'll choose the railing, and then we'll choose to edit its type properties from the properties panel. And then we'll change the baluster placement, so we'll choose edit in here. And we'll set the space into 5 foot as the distance between the posts. And then we'll also come and justify the pattern, so instead of starting at the beginning, we'll spread the pattern to fit. Then we can choose OK, and then OK once more to apply those changes. And we can see now that we have a much better spaced out posts going up our slope, and also along the wall at the top of the railing. So this completes the exercise and finishes our video.